My name is Reggie Mitchell. I am a fifth generation silversmith. We specialize in sand and tufa casting. My clan is Diné and Ashia. I am bitter waterborne for Salt Clan. I come from Gallup, New Mexico. My dad is Reggie Mitchell, comes from Monument Valley area or Diné. And also my mother is Victoria Mitchell, and she lives in Gallup, but from Mayama, which is by Fort Wingate. When I was growing up, my dad would usually be doing a lot of the silver work. And when I was a little kid, he'd be wanted me to be able to do some filing for him, or he'll say, "Hey son, go and do this, or can you bezel this stone?" And I'm like a little kid, so do what I'm told, and there I am filing and so on. You got paid by bologna sandwiches, or you got some white bread. And that was the extent of it. There wasn't really like this beautiful part of it, It was just rush work. Growing up wasn't really all that, beautiful. You don't really realize that you're raised in poverty, so to speak. You don't question it as a child. You just, it's normal to you to be able to live in a time that was tough, But of course, in those days and even today, it's always hard for any Native artists to be able to make a living, doing what they do. And so, as fast as he would make 2 or 3, then we would have to be able to sell it just to be able to eat. And then as I got older, of course, I'd be with my own path and taught martial arts for many years. And I've been a coach, and I've also been a fighter and a grappler. And and I really honestly thought that martial arts was going to be something that I was going to do for the rest of my life. Life being what it is, always in transition, I went back to my roots and moved in my dad. And then life became to where it was like almost like the creator almost said, "Here, you're gonna go back to something that's beautiful, like the working with the silver, working with the stones." I really had this epiphany, or I had this realization where this was my calling. From the start, you have to be able to have the right mind, almost like you're like in a meditative state, and then you have an idea of how you envision a particular piece to look like, and then you start to be able to make it happen. But you can't make it happen if you don't have the silver. You can't make it happen if you don't have, the stones. In a lot of the case, you learn to make your own material. You start to learn to make your own twist wire. You make your own bezels, and this is where it becomes fun. If I was to really concentrate on one particular piece, and I already had it all mapped out, so to speak, in my mind, and all the materials were there, I could probably make one piece in a day. But that's with no distractions, no eating, very little water, you're on it. And in some cases, you'd be surprised how fast a given day will go by. Before you know it, you're up, like let's say at 4:30 in the morning, and then you're going to sleep, and then you're realizing it's like 11 o'clock at night. As an Indian artist, your time is whenever you can put into it. And so when having to be able to put in that quality time and to be able to make such fine work, jewelry, it's hard for me to be able to just say, okay, I want to just go ahead and give this out for nothing, and I want to sell it to just to anybody, or I don't really care to know the person that buys this stuff. If we're going to put this time and energy into this work, let us get to know these people, and let's be honest with that. And so, because we all need to be able to understand that our self-worth, how much time we're putting into it, and we need to be able to, almost in a sense, band together to where we see, and that the world needs to know that we, are putting in such beauty and a part of ourselves into this jewelry. And it does need to be recognized, and people need to be able to see, wow, this is incredible, and we should, deal with the people directly. And I remember casting my first bracelet, you know, and having to get used to the heat and getting used to all that. And as a, you know, a person that's almost, I guess, stubborn in some ways, but also very like a perfectionist where I really want things done well. It was one of those things where you had to really let go of a lot. And jewelry work is quite humbling. And you learn to be able to just allow things to be what it is, and then you got to get everything correct. Everything's got to be warm or hot, and then you make that pour. But even to this day, after putting so much time and energy into it, like within the last, you know, 2.5 to 3 years now, nothing but jewelry work, I still feel like I'm still learning, and I'm taken by the artwork that other people make. It blows my mind that there are so many fabulous artists out there, and I really admire them and I appreciate them. And I hope to one day, you know, get to that caliber where I feel like I'm worthy, I guess, to really stand in a way where, you know, I represent the people in a very positive and healthy and beautiful way. Now that it's my money that I'm investing in, and now that it's my money where I'm buying the stones, you know, and I have this understanding of how this business is run. There's these great, fabulous artists, you know, from all around Indian country who put in their blood, sweat, and tears, literally, and yet getting paid almost nothing. And then to look into a gallery and then you see that their pieces are marked up, you know, 5, 10, you know, 10, 20%. And so that's where I kind of realized that I want to know more. I want to know why is this system, you know, favorable to the, you know, the non-Indians, the galleries, versus the ones who are really putting in that time and effort, and that's the Native Americans. My son and I started up a company, and the goal was for us to be able to keep that tradition, but yet work directly with people. So that way, the people who buy our jewelry are really buying directly from us with fine craftsmanship, with quality stones, and getting it at a really fair price. And that's what we like. And so these days, a lot of our stuff we buy it either directly or we go to shows and deal with people directly. And to be honest, it's something magical when you're having to be able to see the person that buys and appreciates your work. You know, and when it's gratifying to know that the pieces that you've made have found its place, you know, in this world with someone who will cherish it and you know, will pass it, you know, down to future generations.